Is London becoming safer? Drones and e-bikes are changing the fight against crime. Imagine being tracked from the sky by a drone or chased down by an e-bike. It's not a movie. It's happening on the streets of London. The Metropolitan Police say they're now arresting around 1,000 suspects every month using these tactics, helping cut neighborhood crimes such as theft, robbery, and burglary by 15%. Even more surprising, phone thefts in London's West End have fallen by half since June last year. So what's behind this dramatic change? And how are drones, e-bikes, and frontline officers making London's streets safer? Stay with us as we bring you the full story.
And when you look at our charge rate, we have momentum, which we're not going to give up on. We've turned the corner on volume crime over the last couple of years, and for it to be down by sort of 14-15% across London, and particularly down, we're celebrating in Camden here today with the local town centre team, where it's down here by a quarter. As you say, Westminster by more than a third. These are massive, massive reductions. And all this is supported by technology. We're using drones, we're using facial recognition cameras to get wanted people off the streets. We're going to be relentless on this. We're going to keep going, and we'll keep making progress regardless of the resourcing pressures we face.
Yeah, can you afford to be relentless?
So you have to get more focused and sharper. Listen, I don't like running a police force that's 3,300 smaller than it was 3 years ago. But whatever monies government decide to give us, we will be as determined and focused as we possibly can do. Today I want to focus on celebrating this massive progress our teams are making in terms of bringing down crime.
Of course, I'm sure given what you said before, that the cuts would have to come in September, that we are very nearly in September.
We're looking at the effect of, as our plans have to change over the course of the year, as we're not able to use the technology we were hoping to, we're looking at the effect of that, and you'll hear about that in due course.
How concerned are you about the state of the criminal justice system? It's okay, your officers going out and nicking people, getting them off the streets, but the reality is that many of them won't face trial, and the victims have to wait for justice for something like 3 or 4 years. Yeah,
I'm really, really troubled and concerned by the fragility of the justice system at the moment. This has built up over a long time. It's not something government can fix overnight. But in London, we've got hundreds of cases that are now listed for trial in 2030. You pause and think 2030, that's a crazy amount of time to hold a victim in abeyance whilst waiting for justice.
So Mark Rowley there. Meanwhile, there are calls for more safe spaces for young people in order to prevent a repeat of mass gatherings on London's streets. During one in Clapham 4 months ago, hundreds of young people suddenly turned up. There were complaints of antisocial behaviour and shopkeepers being intimidated. So as schools break up for summer, how can it be prevented from happening again? Here's our Home Affairs correspondent, Sonia Jessup.
Clapham High Street, March 2026. For the second time in a week, hundreds of young people on the streets. Reports of antisocial behaviour.
They were all in M&S and Sainsbury's, and I saw a bunch of them shouting at people in shops. There was a bunch of police officers everywhere as well, and it was really scary.
Now, some of the headlines at the time called it a riot, but police said there was no widespread looting or criminal damage. However, they said 5 people, including 4 police officers, were assaulted and 6 teenage girls arrested, the youngest of them just 13.
The police have explained it was through social media posts, encouraging people to link up. It's also something we've seen increasingly over school holidays.
Yeah, so a link up is basically when a bunch of kids basically just come together, play music, have fun, talk,
Teenagers Prince, Henry and Adnan are ambassadors for the Hackney social justice group Voyage.
The only thing they're coming for is fun. They don't think, oh, what if this happens, what if that happens?
This common misconception that young people, they always just want to be inside, glued to their phones or whatever, but as it turns out, we actually do like that human connection.
It's not just Clapham where this has happened. This was Oxford Circus in 2023 after social media videos urged people to turn up and cause disorder. 9 arrests were made.
What I saw in Clapham, I thought, it was quite chaotic. I think, it was very upsetting, and I believe that also, it's quite unacceptable.
Young people just don't feel like they belong, so they feel the need to engage in this type of behaviour.
Teenagers Tyra and Jason are part of a panel of young people who advise the Mayor's Violence Reduction Unit.
When young people don't have enough safe or structured places to go to, I believe that sort of energy can and will spill out onto the streets in dangerous ways, you know.
But do young people have alternative safe spaces to physically meet up? Just a few days after those scenes here in Clapham, London's mayor announced that he'll fund at least one late-night youth club for every borough. But it comes after years of cuts to youth services.
We used to have a youth club right next to our school, so as soon as we finished school, all the kids anywhere to go to, we had youth workers, even the police would sometimes come by, have fun, you know what I mean? But right now, that place got closed.
So some boroughs really are trying to reinvest in youth work, but that's difficult because some of the youth clubs have been sold off, and also the youth workers have been made redundant, lost their jobs. Many of them have moved on to other things.
The Met Police said that it would take a zero-tolerance approach to what happens here in Clapham, sending in extra officers, but also telling parents to take more responsibility, and also social media platforms for any content that's shared that promotes or incites disorder.
The really key thing here is for the police to have local officers on the ground, understanding what's going on, gathering intelligence, and so combining all of that intelligence with what's going on social media so that the police can have a rounded picture.
Back in Clapham, I catch up with Carol Powell, who represents local businesses.
We're all a little bit worried, because you would be.
She agrees good neighbourhood policing can help, but says that's only part of the answer.
If there's one section of society that doesn't feel welcome, you're never going to have a safe, open, welcoming space. And these kids will be the adults of the future. We want them to feel like Clapham is theirs as well.
To avoid more scenes in London like this, then, there are calls to find and fund more safe spaces for young people, and questions over what part police and social media should play.